When I reviewed Genmu Senki Leda, I wanted to remember what is the earliest anime I watched that has the subgenre of being transported to another world, and I think it is Tobira or Akete. I saw this sometime in the early 90s, and like most of the anime I saw back then, it was because of the cover, and this laserdisc spoke to me. Gorgeous, colorful art filled with sword and sorcery vibes which the anime itself did not have. I got my fix on that when I saw The Legend of Lemnir. This anime, however, introduced me to the transported to another world subgenre and I am forever grateful for it. So, Tobira wa Akete is a fantasy anime film released in 1986 and it is directed by Keizo Shimizu and created by Koichi Arai. Mr. Arai is a key animator to many classics like Macross 7, Rojin Z, Clamps X anime film, and many more. The story starts in Tokyo where we have our main character Neko, a university student who seems to be bored with her everyday mundane life, but at night she can be herself along with her playboy best friend Haruka, and that is practicing their special powers. He can teleport and she has some telekinesis powers and other things I won't spoil. And these powers become stronger when there is a full moon. Then they meet a third person who also has a unique ability, Keishiro. But before we know what his ability is, they suddenly get dragged into a portal. Keiichiro gets separated by the rest and Neko and Haruka happen to be in front of a door. Once Neko opens it, things get weird and confusing for them. The first thing they see is that they are in a shrine and there are a bunch of people chanting the name Neirula to Neko. Then the door closes behind them and they begin to freak out as there is no way of coming back to their world. So, what is going on? Apparently, Neko is supposed to be a reincarnation of a legendary queen called Neirula. This world was engulfed with war, and Neirula was the queen of her continent, the Middle Kingdom, and the opposer of the invaders that are the Western Kingdom. After long wars that made Neirula an enchanting legend with her magnificent powers and magic, the resistance ended with her defeat by the Western Kingdom and was executed. But before she died, she said that one day she would awaken again and save the land. That was 500 years ago, and it is believed that her spirit was sleeping inside this door the entire time. Given how Neko has special powers and the full moon is bright and big in this world, it took little to no convincing to the people that Neko is the legendary queen, and thus her adventure begins to destroy the Western Kingdom reign of terror while she discovers her destiny and her reason for existing. Where do I even start? I remember before the title of the movie came up there was this shower scene for Neko and it was a full-on fan service nude scene, and then she looks at the screen and shuts her shower curtain. That caught me off guard back then, trust me. If you can't already tell, I am sold with this premise. The story doesn't seem original, but it is in many ways. Although we know what the main objective is, the journey goes to unexpected turns, shocking reveals, and a mystery that started from the beginning with a twist reveal of it by the end. And that twist, in my opinion, elevated the story to more of what it actually is. At first you realize it is a light-hearted anime, but some scenes are really dark, so don't let the tone fool you. When I reviewed Leda, I mentioned that the world in that anime needed more exploration, and thankfully this anime delivers in that department. There are a lot of times where the characters are just hanging out, getting to know each other and the world they are in, and with the inclusion of multiple characters you get to love this world more, from warriors to children to kingdoms, creatures and magical forests. I also liked how they nonchalantly showed Neko use her powers for the first time, and they didn't spend time explaining how these people have these special abilities. They're like the X-Men in a way, they just do. And with that, we get to focus on the journey itself, and it was a joyful ride. The main character Neko. It's bizarre to say that because she's a college student, she feels like a breath of fresh air, since most if not all the characters from this subgenre are high schoolers, and having a college student as an anime character to this day feels like an uncharted territory. She is mature, collected, and even when Haruka mentions her period, she doesn't go all crazy and punches him while she blushes. She just gets annoyed in a chill kind of way. And I know it's not a big deal, but I like that she smokes. It was different back then, I never saw that before, and the image of her smoking in a fantasy world made the anime more unique in my eyes. Her character development kept on going until the ending, and knowing her gloomy past made me sympathize with her and understands her imperfections because there is a disturbing scene about her childhood that made me get her flaws, and thus she became more human to me. She always felt that she is a nobody because people feared her. She was different and alienated by her friends and family all her life. So this Neirula journey gave her a purpose, that she is someone important now, and that made me follow and support her like all the supporting characters and soldiers that pledged allegiance to her. There are many supporting characters: Haruka, Keiichiro, the ogre princess Dimida, the priest Laden. They all stand on their own and no one outshines the other. They are so different from one another, so a terrific variety of characters are here, and that always keep the story more interesting. They help develop everything from how the world works and knowing Neko even more. Character designs feel like it is a mix of late 70s to early 80s anime. Neko's design specifically feels like it came out of the 70s, while characters like Dimida and Laden are all about the 80s aesthetic, especially Dimida, who is my favorite character design in this anime. I mean, how can you not love a character with a hair like this? And the monster designs are nothing short but remarkable. The environment and background art is not detailed but elegant nonetheless. The castles in particular look wondrous. The production value is not that high, but it doesn't look bad at all. It feels like a high budget TV series episode that is an hour and 20 minutes long, and that's a-okay for me. The same thing about the animation. It's not that super fluid animation that makes me orgasm with joy. They were again good in the sense of a well-made TV series anime, and not a single action scene was poor. They were all a pleasure to watch with a decent amount of lovely blood. I don't think if it's fair or not, but comparing this to Leda is often a natural thing for me to do. They are similar in many ways, even to the reason why the main characters went to that world, and they were a year apart. These two anime complete each other in a way. What Leda failed in storytelling, this anime knocked it out of the park with its world building, and the opposite is said about the production. Leda has an outstanding presentation and Tobira Akete doesn't come close to it. But in the end, I love both of them regardless of their negatives. Tobira Akete has this adventurous charm, and the twist revelation by the end became the ultimate test for the main character that was building up during the entire story, and I love that. So when the story ended, I look back and realize that this was a hefty journey filled with love, pain, and self-discovery.